Tangled has incredible writing, beautiful animation, and compelling characters, but it's all overshadowed by the big fluffy snowball that's Frozen. Hey guys, I'm Lila and I cover your favorite films and TV shows, and today I'm going to do a deep dive on the 2010 Disney movie Tangled, and finding out why it's so underrated compared to Frozen, and also reviewing the movie as a whole and my thoughts on it. Okay, so I absolutely love this movie. The songs are incredible, the animation is beautiful, the villain is a gaslighting queen, and Flynn Rider is just Flynn Rider, okay? This is a personal comfort movie of mine and has such a soft spot in my heart. I actually think that Tangled is one of the best Disney movies, and really mostly all of Disney's animated movies are extremely good and very well written, but I think Tangled's one of the best Disney princess ones. It's so entertaining and compelling and has great comedic timing, and it's a really unique take on the original Grimm's Brothers fairy tale of Rapunzel, which is not so family friendly. Okay, if you haven't seen Tangled in a while, here's a basic summary of what happens in the movie. Okay, we start off with Mother Gothel, who somehow found a flower that when you sing a special song to it, it heals you, or in her case, makes her look younger, and prevents her from dying. So she hides it away for herself, but the queen is pregnant and dying, so the guards are out on the look for this flower. The guards eventually find it, and the queen is healed by the flower, but it gives her daughter special abilities. Mother Gothel is like, well dang, what am I supposed to do now? So she breaks into the palace and she tries cutting some of Rapunzel's hair. But when she cuts her hair, it just turns brown and loses all of its magic. So she decides the most logical thing to do is kidnap her. And every year after that, the king and queen send out lanterns into the sky on the lost princess's birthday in hopes that one day she may return. And this is basically all summed up in the first 5 minutes of the movie by some very helpful narration from Flynn Rider himself. Okay, so let's get into what happens in the actual movie. 18 years have gone by, and Rapunzel is still stuck in a tower, but now she has some long hair. Rapunzel's birthday is coming up, so reluctantly Mother Gothel takes a trip to get her some new paints. Flynn Rider is in the middle of a heist to steal the crown with these two hunks, and they end up getting chased by the royal guards and this horse. Flynn Rider ends up betraying the two hunks and leaving them to get captured, and somehow ends up in Rapunzel's tower to hide. Now this is when Flynn Rider reluctantly agrees to take Rapunzel to go see the floating lights. He takes her to a bar, they get chased by some horses, they almost end up drowning. But then eventually they get to the village and end up doing this super cute little dance, which I love. Flynn Rider eventually finds out that Rapunzel has magical healing hair. And this is when our gaslighting queen comes back and tells Rapunzel that she's going to regret leaving the tower and that Eugene doesn't love her. In the most epic reprise ever, Rapunzel knows best. So Mother Gothel's master plan is to make it look like Eugene took the crown and left Rapunzel, so that Rapunzel comes back running to her. And honestly, the whole plan is pretty psychologically manipulative and actually planned really well. But once she gets back home, this is when Rapunzel puts 2 and 2 together that she is actually the lost princess. Mother Gothel ties her up, and Flynn Rider escapes from jail and goes to find Rapunzel, only to be stabbed when entering the tower. Rapunzel makes a deal with Mother Gothel that if she can save Eugene, she'll stay in the tower forever. But right before she can heal him, Eugene does her dirty with the shortest haircut possible. Like, come on, you could have cut it a little bit lower and it would have done the same job. And with that, Rapunzel loses all of her healing power and Mother Gothel shrivels up and dies, like she should have 100 years ago. But don't worry, Eugene doesn't die. One of Rapunzel's tears save him, and they go back to the kingdom, and Rapunzel finally gets to meet her real mom and dad, and they all live happily ever after. Okay, let's talk about the characters of this movie. My girl Rapunzel, she has been manipulated her whole life and is very ignorant to the outside world, but she's actually very creative and a literal ray of sunshine in the story. She's very unsure of everything around her and very cautious, but don't let that fool you because she will hit you with a frying pan. And Mandy Moore's voice for Rapunzel is just perfect, and her singing voice as well. Personally, Rapunzel is my favorite Disney princess, and I love to see her grow throughout the movie and slowly become more and more sure of herself, and then finally sure enough to stand up for herself against her mother.
No!
No.
or mother. And I think I really connected with this movie because I felt like Rapunzel was very relatable in a sense that she was always wondering when her life was about to begin. Because that's how I felt when I was that angsty little 12-year-old who just moved to a new state and didn't have any friends. I also related to Rapunzel in a sense of having 1,000 different hobbies and not being really good at any one in particular. I do really enjoy art though, which is why you guys are stuck with these stick drawings. Plus, messy drawings are more fun to do anyways. Okay, moving on, let's talk about my boy, Flynn Rider, or Eugene. Okay, I just absolutely love how when Disney was creating this character, they literally had a meeting where they collected their favorite pictures of men and combined all of those best qualities into a character and made Flynn Rider. I just think it's so funny that Flynn Rider was literally made to be the ideal love interest, which worked, by the way, because he's the most popular Disney prince. And I liked how Disney finally realized that they needed to start giving their princes some personality. Justice for my boy Prince Charming. He has more of a personality in Cinderella 3 if you've ever watched that.
Okay.
But Flynn is introduced as a snarky thief at first, but then eventually throughout the film we see him show a bit of a softer side of himself, especially when he finally tells Rapunzel that his real name is Eugene, and he gets points for sacrificing himself to save Rapunzel. He ended up not having to sacrifice himself because her tears brought him back to life, but you know, the thought was still behind it. Okay, Mother Gothel. I love how in this story the villain is actually really manipulative and doesn't come across as a typical Disney villain, because when I first watched Tangled, it had me guessing if Mother Gothel really did love Rapunzel. Spoiler alert, she does not, because this is not love.
Going where no one will ever find you again.
But she definitely does love Rapunzel's power. And one of my biggest questions in the whole show is how in the world did she know what song to sing to the flower? I mean, it's not like the flower came with a manual on what song to sing. And if she could have just sang any song, Rapunzel's hair would be lighting up 24/7. And also, how did the guards know about the flower? These are the questions, guys. Okay, the animal sidekicks. Pascal and Maximus. Now, I can't not talk about the animals because Pascal is literally my favorite Disney sidekick. And I feel like it makes the audience feel sort of better that Rapunzel wasn't really stuck in there by herself for 18 years and that she had a little friend, even though obviously Pascal can't talk back to her. And of course, there's also Maximus. Absolutely love his relationship with Eugene. It's so cute and funny. And I think their whole dynamic is one of the best parts of the movie. And I absolutely love how it begins with Maximus trying to capture him to him actively helping him break out of prison, because the movie just did a complete 180. Now, before I get into how Frozen overshadowed Tangled, I have to talk about the music and animation of this film. Okay, the music is so good. I've always been obsessed with the song When Will My Life Begin, especially when I was in my little angsty 12-year-old stuck in my room phase. And Mother Knows Best is so good, but what's even better than that song is the reprise of Rapunzel Knows Best. And I absolutely love the instrumental Kingdom Dance song. It has such a fairytale vibe and extremely just joyful, and I absolutely adore it. And of course, I can't forget At Last I See the Light. That song is absolutely beautiful, but what's even more beautiful is the animation of that song. My favorite animated scene definitely has to be the lantern scene. Now, to go a little bit deeper into the animation, like usual with any Disney film, the animation is amazing. Like seriously, the animators are so talented, and I really love how the 3D animation works in this film. The visuals for Mother Knows Best are hilarious and work so well, but one thing that's always irked me about this movie is when the little village girls braid her hair. There's no way you're telling me they fit all that hair into that braid. Now, I'm not an idiot. I understand that the animators wanted her to be able to dance without her hair being everywhere, but then again, I don't care. And Rapunzel's tower is about 73 feet tall. Rapunzel's height is literally only 5'1". 5'1". Come on, there's no way. Okay, now that I'm done ranting about Rapunzel's hair, let's talk about Tangled versus Frozen. Now, Tangled is often compared to Frozen because they were released around the same time, are both done in 3D animation, but Frozen was incredibly popular and you could not escape it no matter how hard you tried. Frozen really was a movie phenomenon at the time and had an extremely large fan base, and of course what comes along with that is people who simply hate the movie just because it's so popular. So many people started to say how much better Tangled is compared to Frozen, and personally they're pretty even in my book. I do like Tangled a bit more than Frozen, but I've also never really understood why people felt such a need to compare them. They're both fabulous written movies, and sadly Tangled didn't receive as much worldwide success as Frozen, and not to mention how we got screwed over with no ride at Disney World. Like literally just a bathroom. Like come on, you could have gave us something else. But maybe it's a good thing. Because when you hear something 3,000 times, you start to not like it after a certain point. I'm just saying. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you guys want to see more content about me talking about your favorite animated films and TV shows, make sure to subscribe and like the video. Okay, thanks, bye!